Price of fuel going up at midnight tonight. Petrol by around R1.27 a litre, diesel in the region of 30 cents a litre. I'm joined now by Automobile Association's Layton. Layton, I wonder if you could, hi there, and thank you very much for waiting while we dealt with what's been happening in Swane. I wonder if you could talk us through the underlying reasons for these latest increases.
Yeah, the big reason obviously has been the movement in international product prices, oil prices. That has played the biggest factor in certainly in the petrol price, contributing 73 cents to that R1.27 increase. In the case of diesel, the average international product prices actually came down over the period, which is February. So that's the reason why the increase in diesel is less than that of petrol. But contributing significantly to both diesel and petrol increases and to illuminating paraffin has been the weaker rand against the US dollar. We know there's two key markers when it comes to the fuel price locally, Sally. International oil prices being the one, and the average rand US dollar exchange rate. And when we see the depreciation of the rand against the greenback over February, it becomes clear that that's played a major role in this increase that we're going to get at midnight tonight.
Yeah, so absolutely they're local conditions as well. But if we look back at the past year, and it has in fact been just over a year since Russia invaded Ukraine, and that saw the oil price spike up quite dramatically. We have seen stability somewhat in recent months. But if you look back at the last year of increases, and there have been a couple of decreases, but generally it's been quite a sharp upward trajectory. What sort of impact has it had on consumers and motorists?
Well, I think it's been incredibly severe. We see month on month a basket of basic goods, foodstuffs, goods is increasing way beyond inflation. And that is going to have an enormous impact on every single household in the country, but specifically on those that are very poor. So it's going to have an impact on those households. And I mean, when we look at the fuel prices over the last 12 months, February, March last year, we were pretty much in the range that we are at the moment. In fact, we're a little bit lower than, we're a little bit higher now than we were then. The biggest issue came in, obviously, in June, July, August, where, in July, for instance, last year, we saw the petrol price just touching on 27 Rand a litre inland for ULP 95. So that was very high. That's the highest it's obviously been. So, but yes, the impact is enormous. And I think the one thing that we cannot ignore, Sally, is that these increases, even in the price of diesel, even though it's a lot less than that of petrol, it does filter into the economy because it is such a huge input cost in the manufacturing sector and in the agricultural sector. And when those input costs increase, those costs are passed on to consumers through more expensive goods and services. So we will see another impact these fuel prices are going to have on every household in South Africa.
And Layton, I know you're not a crystal ball gazer, but you do get to look at the trends and a sense of what is going on. What is the AA sense of what is likely to happen over the next 6 to 12 months with the fuel price?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a difficult question to answer, Sally, and we get asked it all the time. But, when you look at those two factors that I mentioned, the oil price and the rand US dollar exchange rate, they change on a daily basis, which makes forecasting a week in advance impossible, let alone 2 or 3 months in advance. Sure. I think the issue that we will have is the rand. If the rand remains weak against the greenback, that I think would obviously be problematic for local fuel prices. And then the longer that that conflict in the Ukraine drags on, the more pressure that's going to put on oil supplies. And, the winter, we're coming out of winter in the northern hemisphere, but South Africa is going into a winter in the next couple of months. And that's obviously going to put a strain on our usage, and that may, impact on the economy in different ways, again, putting pressure on the rand against the dollar. So it's very difficult to speculate, but I think, obviously concerns about the strength of the rand against the US dollar.
All right. Thank you so much for chatting to us this evening. That is the Automobile Association's Layton, just talking about the incoming price hike kicking in at midnight, R1.27 a litre for the price of petrol, around 30 cents increase for a litre of diesel.